Hi, I'm Paul from Trending Who, What, Where, and When. Today we will be speaking with Christine Yu Cowin. She'll be joining us from Australia to talk about her book, My Secret Self, Trials and Tribulations of an Innocent. So when we started off by talking about where you would take your friends if they came to visit you, if they came to Australia, and you had suggested Carnarvon Gorge.
Carnarvon Gorge.
Okay.
Yes, in central Queensland. It's really beautiful. I went there in 1999 and I love that place. It's very historical. It's an Aboriginal sacred place, and there's a lot of Aboriginal artwork there, and there's a lot of hand stencils, and there's a lot of other interesting artwork as well, which I really like. I like to go to places where there's a lot of Aboriginal artwork.
You climbed up something like 1,000 stairs when you were there?
Yeah, 935.
I was rounding up. Okay, but close to 1,000 stairs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was really good though. It was fun because there was a group of people that did it. Not I was on my own there, but they had a lot of people at the camp, and so they had tours, of course. So we did the gallery tour where the Aboriginal art is, and I did the walk. Boomlinda, I have written it down. Yeah, Boolimba Bluff. Boolimba Bluff.
Okay, yeah. So I looked at the link you sent. It was beautiful.
Oh, it's very pretty. It's absolutely beautiful. Australia has some really beautiful places like that. I do hope to get up to Laura one day in Australia. Laura also too has a lot of ancient Aboriginal art sites, but I haven't got there yet. I have done Kakadu and Litchfield, and Litchfield and Kakadu have places where there's artwork as well in the Northern Territory.
After looking up all the different locations listed in your book, it really made me want to go to Australia, because I was looking at all these different spots you were talking about, and I wasn't familiar with them yet, but it looks like really pretty places.
Yes, and a lot of people just go to Sydney and think that's Australia, but that's not Australia. You know, Australia has a lot of lovely places as well, especially with the Aboriginal culture. There's some beautiful places to go to. And also to Cairns is really pretty, and Port Douglas and all those places up there, up in northern Queensland. Really lovely places to go and see.
Okay.
Also to Brisbane's a lovely city, as well as Sydney and Melbourne. Melbourne's a very cultural city. Melbourne's a lovely city. I like Melbourne.
Okay, sounds good.
Mm.
Well, I enjoyed your book.
Thank you.
I got it and I had a hard time putting it down. It was just like I was sitting there with someone, and like you were telling me the story in person almost. Like you think, now what's going to happen? What's next? And all of a sudden I was finished with it.
That's what people say. They can't put it down. Yes.
It must have been some hard work to write like that.
I don't know, because I just write. I don't question anything. I'm a natural writer. I'm not a trained writer. I'm just natural. And like I told you too, because I lived in Istanbul for 6 years, and I went there on my spiritual journey. It was a calling. I knew no one there, and I traveled on my own there. And I always wanted to write a book, but because I'm very bad at grammar, I'm dyslexic, I found out in 2009. So I thought, oh, I can't write a book. But then I went to see an esoteric astrologer, and he said, you have to write a book. And he said, on your life's journey. So I started to write a book in 2003 in Turkey when I was living there, and I finished it in 2005, 887 pages. But I just write. I don't question nothing, and okay. I'm very intuitive as well. So my life story just came. It flowed in Turkey.
Where did you get the bravery just to go by yourself to Turkey, get on a bus there, and it sounded like you went across on a boat or something somewhere, and you got on a bus by yourself?
Yeah. I went from Greece, and then I came over to Samos, and I stayed on Samos, and then I got a barge over to Turkey. And it was really strange. Like, instead of going up on the top of the ship and watching going into Kusadashi, I went down the bottom of the barge where the cars are, and was really smelly with exhaust fumes. I thought, what am I doing down here? And because I'm a spiritual person, okay, and because I believe in past lives and things like that, when that barge door went down, I thought, oh my God, I've come home. And it was just like, I just come home. And as soon as I touched Turkish soil, I was home. And then I just wandered around around Turkey on my own, like I knew where I was going and where I had to go, you know.
Okay.
And also too, I found out when I was in America traveling around that I follow my spirit, because I said, well, where next? And then spirit tells me where to go, you know, like my inner self. It's my inner self. I wrote one big book, 887 pages. And then when I come back to Australia, there was this guy, he said to me, you'll have to break that down into books. It's just too much, you know. So I made 5 books out of that. Wrote them in Turkey, and then I edited them in Turkey myself. And then when I came home, it took me another 10 years to publish them, because I still had healing work to do within myself, with my own family here in Australia. So I had to come back. I came back because I ran out of money, and plus I come back because I had healing work to do here. So as soon as I did the healing work and I solved a major issue, I could just, like, I found the publishing company and I found the editor, I found everything. You know, once you do what you need to do in life, things open up for you. Yeah.
And then you did all 5 books all at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
In that 2-year period. Yeah.
And then there's 2 more books coming.
Yeah, there's 2 more coming. Yes. I have to write them ones yet.
Tell us about the first book, the one that you gave me the link to. I guess that was your first book.
Yes, that's the first one. There's 3 out at the moment. And then I've got another 2 in the computer that I need to go over and then put into an editor and publish, yes.
Oh. Tell our viewers about your first book and walk them through it. I guess it's you're growing up in Australia on a farm, and
yes,
your family. And
yes, it was. And it was about, like, my relationship with my family. We didn't really connect. We were all kind of like trapped in our own little world, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize that I was a spiritual person back then, and I didn't know anything about spirituality. But our house also too had, like, you could feel the entities in our house. So as a child, I probably would have thought of them as ghosts. I wouldn't have known that word entity until later in life. But you could feel them, and especially down in the bottom room, there was like feelings there of someone watching you all the time. And when you pass this archway and you walk past that archway, it was like you went into another dimension, another realm, another time. So later on, in years and years and years later, I found out that they had convict cells underneath the house. And of course, they had prisoners there, and they probably died, or, you know, as well. So yeah, so my brother said too, like later on when we talked about these things in later life, that he heard them as well, because he kind of latches off as well. So and then it was a friend of my brother's that told me that his father and my uncle went down in the cellars, and my grandma was very angry at them going down into the cellars where the cells where the prisoners were, and had it all sealed up. And I thought, oh my God, I hope they're all right. But the house had a life. It had a life of its own. I thought it was my grandfather there, you know, because he died early in life. He was about 42 when he died. And I thought it was him in the house. But apparently it was not him. Maybe it was other people there. Yeah.
Wow. So that might
But
have been
I always felt very, very safe with them and very, very liked by them. My brother was scared by them in his room. My sister also too, when she got married and she came back to the house, it was like something pushed her out of the house. Yeah, so she was scared and she would never go back there unless mum was home, you know.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But my mum seemed to also too was liked by them as well. Yeah.
So that must have been a government building possibly before your parents lived, your family lived there.
Well, it belonged to the coal mining industry that my grandfather worked for.
It sounds like that was a really large farm.
It was a large house, and it wasn't so large, the land mass. It was quite a bit land mass. I can't remember now how much, but I can see it. But the house was quite big, yeah.
And then you had to walk miles and miles to
Oh,
school.
yes, we had to
Both
walk
directions.
2.5 miles to school, like back home and back, you know, like so it was 5 miles over the day. But you didn't know any different because you were brought up with that, so you don't know this is not good or it's just too much, you know. You just don't know those things.
You're used to it, so let's just take it for granted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like part of your life. You did it, and that's it. Sometimes too, we had to if we didn't get up early enough and the bus came, we had to run for the bus, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that. And then I was reading it. It said the bridge washed out, so you couldn't go that way.
Yes.
All these
Yeah. Then we had to go up another road, like the main road going up to the other town, and then we used to catch the bus on another corner. Yeah.
I guess your writing career began with these books. The 5
Yes.
years.
Yes, when I lived in Turkey, and then I said to you, you know, I went to the astrologer and he said you have to write books, and so he said to me, I want you to ring this lady, and so I rang her up, and she said, oh, okay, then just send me a chapter, and I'll let you know in a week. And I said, oh, okay then. So I wrote the chapter, first ever chapter I ever wrote of my life, and it's in the book, the first chapter. And I wrote it and I wrote it and I wrote it and I sent it to her, and then she said, oh my God, she rang me that afternoon, said, oh my God, she said, you're a natural writer. She said, yes, I'll help you, you know. So she didn't help me with the writing process. She helped me with the, like, getting the information out, like the psychology type of part of it, and doing Reiki on me, and I did mandalas, and I went back in the past and like to recall. And then people started to come in and play out parts of my life so that I could trigger memories, you know. So that's what people are for in this world. You know, we're all here to help each other on a soul level.
Okay.
So we trigger each other to remember or to help.
I saw that when you sent it to me, the Reiki and the mandalas. So
Reiki is hands-on healing.
Okay.
Yes. And you use symbols to do the Reiki. Reiki too is brings up a lot of emotional stuff, but Reiki 1 is quite gentle, and there's Reiki 3 as well. And I've done all the Reiki myself, and I was doing Reiki on myself as well to help me to bring through my information. And the mandala is you draw a circle and you meditate, and you let whatever comes out come out in the circle, and it'll tell you a story, you know.
I couldn't believe the memory you have going back to when you're that little. You remembered all these details, songs, and people and places. It's really impressive. You're going back a lot of years.
I went back, yes, a lot of years. And also too, I found that in Turkey, my memory was just like incredible in Turkey. I don't have that same ability here for some reason in Australia. I think I just don't know why, but up there in the Northern Hemisphere, I seem to have more energy. I'm a different person in the Northern Hemisphere to what I am in the Southern Hemisphere. It might sound funny, but I feel like as if gravity is like pushing down on me here. I feel like as if I have more connection in the Northern Hemisphere than I do here.
Okay.
But all my family have more connection here. They're more grounded here.
Oh, that must have been some trip. I can't imagine going somewhere just thinking about visiting and staying for 6 years before I come back.
Well, I did come back and I sold everything I owned. So I went there, and then in 6 months' time, I sold everything I owned, and then I went back. Actually, I didn't think I'd come back, to Australia, but then I had some healing work that I needed to do here.
You also mentioned you did some work with reverse speech, and I was going to ask you what reverse.
Oh, yes, reverse speech. Yeah, that was the lady that really helped me so much. I suppose I can mention her name, Dolores Chison. She's in Canada, and she helped me. Reverse speech is like you're telling your story, but then she's recording it, and then there's another part of you on an unconscious level saying what they're actually saying, what you're actually saying,
And then you also mentioned a natal chart.
Oh, a natal chart, that's in astrology, because I did astrology, but I did basic astrology. I never did esoteric astrology, because esoteric astrology is really complex, and really, like, the guy knew so much about me without knowing me, just from my chart. Okay. So your natal chart is like your horoscope, and all your planets and all your signs go around this circle, and then you've got houses, and each house represents different things about you and about your personality, wherever your sign and your planet lands.
So all these different elements were used when you were writing the book. All these different things were incorporated in.
No. I studied at the Esoteric College, so that opened me up to understand my spirituality, and that was when I was 46. I went to an esoteric college, and then I learned about all the things that I knew, like reincarnation. I didn't know the words for it. I knew people came back, but I didn't have the words for it when I was a child or in that lifetime. So I can't use, like, I didn't know until later on the terminology of everything.
Okay.
So the esoteric science also to help me as well, because when you study esoteric science, and this is not like, at the moment, there's a lot of things going on about esoteric, like it's not good, but esoteric has a good side. There's good and bad in each side. And the esoteric studies opened me spiritually, plus also to open people around me spiritually, so that my family started to tell me some different things about our life as well. So my mum and dad started to open up. So those things will come in later on in my book, when my parents start to open up about the history of our family.
It must be really difficult to be a writer, because I hear a lot from people out there having a hard time getting published.
Getting published, yes. Writing is the easy part.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the easy part. And because I'm a natural writer, I just write. I'm a prolific writer. I've got stories there too. I've got to make little short stories and stuff as well. That's the easy part. Yeah, getting published. When I was living in Turkey, I did send my book to, I think, 5 publishing houses. However, it wasn't the right genre at the time. And then I just said, I'm not going to worry about it. And then, like I said to you, when I come back to Australia, it took me 10 years to actually publish the book. So I just went to a publishing service, and I self-published through the publishing service. But I must start and try and write a query letter and maybe traditionally publish my books.
Okay. And you also said on your notes that you sent to us, you said you would never dismiss a calling when you.
Oh no, I have a calling now too to go to Sicily. So, but the pandemic came, so I couldn't go. I was supposed to go in another couple of weeks to Sicily.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
wander around there, but everything's stopped at the moment, so we can't travel from Australia. We can travel in Australia a bit, but we can't travel outside of Australia. So that had to be cancelled. Yeah, so I had another adventure coming up.
Okay, well, nice meeting you.
Very kind. Yeah. Oh, lovely meeting you too. And yeah, and I really enjoyed this interview. Thanks
Okay,
so
thank
much.
you, Christine.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a lovely day.
Yeah.
Bye.